Zero Season 4, Episode 3 starts right now. I'm BD, joined today by Jamie Jurek.
Good morning.
Top of the morning. We got Aaron Perrine.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on? We got Jenna Anderson.
Hey, everybody. And hello to Aqua Dementia 66, who says they're digging out a trench while listening to us. That's a new one. I love it.
More information, please.
Yeah.
That seems like a lot of possibilities. Like, it's like a metaphorical trench? Are you in trouble?
I don't know.
Are you doing work? Anyway, welcome to the show from the trenches. Today's show, we got a lot of news to talk about. Also, happy birthday to Phase Zero. Phase Zero turned 3 this week. We debuted with WandaVision. The WandaVision anniversary is a nice reminder of Phase Zero's birthday every year. Thank you for everybody who had digital cake with us. Also, thank you to everybody who reminded us of the birthday. I saw on Twitter the people tagging us on social media saying happy birthday Phase Zero, and I was like, oh, that's right, that is this week. I'm going to be honest with you. It had slipped my mind for a moment. It's been a busy year so far, but we appreciate everybody who's been with us for this ride. There are like thousands of people who have been on this ride with us for years, so that's insane to me. Thank you to all of you who listen every week. You're the real heroes here. Whatever. It's interesting. I'll post stuff on Instagram. Like this weekend, I was watching the X-Men animated series, and I posted a little thing like "Ask me anything," content suggestions, whatever. The number of people who I see on it's more than Twitter now. Instagram is where so many Phase Zero listeners will say those things where we're like, "Oh my god, you really listen, you really pay attention." And there was one, and I know Jamie saw it. I think it was Jamie's burner account, but in reference to our Echo recap, somebody responded to my little "Ask me anything," whatever on Instagram and said, let Jamie do the next recap. And I say, you know what? You're right.
That was both mean and very funny.
They had a point.
Oh,
They had a point. Jamie is unmatched.
BD did a great job with Echo, everybody.
It's okay. Thank you, but no.
Because BD put effort into it. That's the
You
difference.
wrote a novel, so
yeah. That's like people like me doing it because I'm just flying by the seat of my pants and I say dumb stuff because I'm not thinking about it. I think that I just make a fool of myself and people like that.
I just make up for lack of talent with hard work, and sometimes it's entertaining. We were supposed to have a bonus episode. We promised this. We announced it on the Haley Atwell episode. Sydney Freeland, director of Echo, was going to be a bonus episode coming this Friday. That has fallen through. Scheduling conflicts, as they say. She's at work on another project right now. It spilled into when we were supposed to record, and it didn't work out. We are currently working to rebook a new guest for Friday's Spotlight episode, which I think people might even possibly be more excited about if it works out. But I'm not going to say their name. I'm not going to say anything about them, what project they're from, or anything until it is booked and recorded or something, because I just, I hate setting those things up and then them not coming to fruition. But anyway, that's our show. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for joining us. Please subscribe to Phase Zero on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review, and we're going to get through some news now. And I think Jenna is going to kick us off with one that is not one she's going to be really happy with.
I've been waiting to talk about this because the discourse for the past day or so has been exhausting. So Tatiana Maslany was on a Codenames show on Twitch and was asked about She-Hulk season 2 and if it is going to happen. And her response was, I don't think so. I think we blew our budget, and Disney was like, no thanks. So I have so many thoughts about this, obviously. My first thing is I hate the fact that this has started kind of a new hate train on She-Hulk. The amount of people coming out of the woodwork again to be like, haha, I told you that the show wasn't good. We get it. You don't like She-Hulk 2 years after it came out. Cool, whatever. But I wasn't necessarily expecting a second season or promised a second season. I would love one if it still happens. I would not be surprised if she honestly doesn't know if that's still going to happen, but either way, she still exists in this universe and is still going to show up somewhere. So I've made my peace with it. I just have not made peace with the amount of people who are using this as an excuse to be misogynist. So how does everyone else feel about this?
I mean, I'm definitely where you are. Like, it's a bummer if this is true, but it also just feels like Tatiana is just being funny as well.
Yes.
Like the way she said it is funny.
Yes.
But people like taking this as a celebration. I still don't. People not liking this show to that extreme is so crazy because it's so much fun. But people don't like women, so oh well. Sorry, folks.
I will also say she did appear on a podcast in between getting cast as She-Hulk and She-Hulk coming out, where she did say the show had musical numbers, and that did not pan out at all. She was clearly joking for the sake of the podcast. So this could very well just be a joke that she's doing, but who knows?
Yeah, I think it could. I haven't watched the clip, but it could just out of context just be her being messing around, be like, yeah, I don't think they're gonna do that. We blew our budget. Same way, anybody would like if you're in a conversation when you know a person, you can tell if they're joking versus if you just read a quote, then whatever. But I mean, I would be as surprised if She-Hulk season 2 happened as if it didn't happen. It's clearly a very expensive show. It wasn't super well received. I think that in general, Marvel shows right now haven't been met with the reception they thought they would. It's not WandaVision. It's not Loki season 1 anymore. It's not even Hawkeye. Their expectations are through the roof. Their negativity is through the floor. And I think a lot of stuff, just look at the trend. 4 live action shows in 21, 3 live action shows in 22, and 2 live action shows in 23, and only 2 this year. They're clearly cutting back. So I think they're realizing you can't spend $200+ million on these things for 6 episodes. When She-Hulk had 9 though. But, I think that in general, that model is not working. And that's not just Marvel. That's, I think, all of streaming. So while she's joking, I think there's a little bit of truth to every joke. She might have her doubts, but we're obviously going to see She-Hulk again somewhere. Maybe just not in season 2 of her own show. Maybe in season 2 of her own show. But yeah,
I think, because I always do macro level stuff on this, that how do you hold the performers and the creatives accountable for stuff that happened managerially? To me, this piece is an absolute bookend to the news we got about Pixar over the weekend, about there possibly being oncoming layoffs over there because of some of the projects not making as much money. But I'm like, but that's not the movie's fault. We watched Elemental at the house a couple weeks ago, and I was like, wow, Peter Sohn, you guys did a really good job. And by the way, that movie's come back and basically made its way into being actually a pretty good story for the studio. But it wasn't Pete Docter and them that decided all these things were going to be on Disney Plus to grow subscribers. It was Chapek and Iger and the people at the top. And, there's no accountability up there. It is what it is. This is the other thing. We blew our budget. It's so funny because we had the worst of these Disney Plus shows probably last year with Secret Invasion, whose budget was more than She-Hulk. And at least I understand why the budget for She-Hulk was so big. You had to animate the big green giant woman. There's no big green giant woman in Secret Invasion. And there probably should have been.
I mean, normal size.
Did you watch Secret Invasion?
What? No, not giant, though.
Giant.
Did you see that Drax arm?
Super Skrull level.
First of all,
if
one Drax arm costs $150 million, we've all lost the plot. I don't know what the going rate is. Someone in the comments needs to go tell me what the going rate for a Drax arm is for me and for Rocket so that we can know. It's just silly.
You just gotta get some juice and some tattoos.
Get some juice and some tattoos. Yeah. Don't tell Bradley Cooper, man. Don't tell him.
Cost you about 2 months with the right supplements.
The local GNC. Go ask some questions.
Oh no, that's not GNC level supplements, buddy. That's
that's
let me show you what I got in my coat here at the gym.
2024 is all about health research and health facts on Phase Zero, apparently.
Oh boy. Come back next week for Ozempic discourse.
We're all going to start doing steroids here on Phase Zero. Wait till you see our physiques at the end of the year. Oh my God. Well, She-Hulk season 2. Tatiana's maybe joking, maybe serious. Says it seems unlikely. So it just we'll wait and see. I think we're going to be really surprised at some point. Marvel's going to release a new grand plan, updated grand plan. It's not going to be as much. It's not going to be as loaded with new characters. It's going to be more season 2s and more sequels. That's what I think. That's what everybody says the plan was. That's why everybody's saying be patient. Phase 4 is all about new characters. Well, we'll see what they do. Speaking of old characters, Robert Downey Jr. said some stuff. Ended up being a big story. This man is racking up awards for his role in Oppenheimer. I think he deserves it. He was fantastic. But he said, that he thinks he did some of his best work as Iron Man, and it went unnoticed because of the genre. This was on the Literally podcast with Rob Lowe. And he also, so he gets a phone call in the middle of his podcast, and Rob Lowe goes, "Oh, wait, hold up. Is that Marvel? Are they calling you? We've got to break some news." And Downey just goes, "Oh, not just yet." I think in the same sort of jest that we are assuming Tatiana Maslany was making. So also, like I said, some truth to every joke. I think Downey knows that door. It's like mostly closed, but you can still see the light coming through the crack, and it's definitely not locked. And if it was, he has the key. So I just this started a whole bunch of fun conversations. One being, do awards and superheroes still not coexist, and does that matter? And 2, is he coming back as Iron Man? I mean, we all still assume yes, but who cares about the awards for the genre? The award.
I mean, I just want to say, as much as I love his performance as Tony Stark, I don't think any of those movies were Oscar worthy in terms of his performance. But then again, the man was nominated for Tropic Thunder. So but I do think that I think Patrick Stewart should have been nominated for Logan. There are absolutely a time and a place. I mean, Angela Bassett changed the game when she got nominated for Black Panther. There is absolutely a place. I mean, 2 different people won Joker Oscars. Come on. It's not that crazy. But I don't think that RDJ necessarily deserved an Oscar. Maybe some juicy MTV Movie Awards for sure.
Wow. Those two Endgame.
I would love a popcorn.
He did some brilliant. He really did do some brilliant work in Endgame, though. I mean, he did brilliant work throughout. His Tony Stark is just obviously unmatched. But that Endgame stuff with his dad and all that stuff, and I think that he did really fantastic work in Endgame. Maybe.
But 2019 was a really good year for acting, for especially men he was never going to be in that conversation, especially that year. If you go Google that year, that was not happening.
I agree with Jamie. I think there's 2 prongs to this conversation, which is just there should just be a larger kind of awards conversation around genre stuff, and it should be kind of treated like the good work in it should be rewarded. It is weird that a year from now we're going to be talking about Lady Gaga getting another Oscar nom for playing Harley Quinn probably. So it is possible, but yeah, I think that he definitely did. There's a reason why he's so iconic. There's a reason why we always are talking about Tony Stark on this show, and it's because he played it so well. So I don't think he's wrong to say it. I also do think once he does get his Oscar nomination very soon, the door to return to Marvel is going to open a little bit more, because they're definitely going to want that.
I remember the fervor and the push to try and get him into Best Actor in 19, and I think that if we'd had the Academy scrambling like they have post-COVID, he would have gotten nominated for one of those weird would-be Oscar things that only lasted 1 year. Because what was it? The best film moment? Was that the crowd-pleasing moment? Jamie, you're my historian.
Don't get me started on that.
That was Zack Snyder Award.
Yes.
That actually, though, ended up being the next year. That was even though they included Endgame, that was not the 2020 Oscars, that was the 2021 Oscars. And I remember because I was in a hotel in Austin yelling at the screen when that happened. I also want to say that Adam Sandler wasn't even nominated for Uncut Gems that year. That's how crowded that year was. So and that was don't even get me started. So
this is how we win.
I understood that reference. All right. Talk to us about that Fantastic Four.
Yeah, go on, Aaron.
Oh, it's true, man. I see Fantastic Four and my mind glazes over like that episode of Black Mirror. Like I can't see it. So we got Pedro Pascal reportedly dropped out of Zach Kruger's Weapons because of Fantastic Four's production, which is now scheduled for the back half of 2024. This lines up with other weird scooper craziness from in Snyder and RPK and everybody else who online, everybody who has that microphone has been saying that this is getting put into production this year. Does this make you guys excited? Do you think it could still make the date? I suppose is the real thrust of this question. Will his arm have healed by the time we have to do Fantastic Four? Will he spend the first half of the movie in a sling?
Well, damn you, Kieran Culkin, first of all, for hurting Pedro the way you did. Yeah. But second of all, when is the release date for Fantastic Four right now?
Isn't it May?
May
If I remember
25?
correctly?
Yeah, it's May
Which
25.
if they're not starting, because like the thing said, I think like Q3 of this year, which I'm like, there's no way you can't even get like a low budget indie movie turned around that quickly unless you like hustle. So if that ends up being the case, then they're probably going to have to delay it. But I do think the fact that we even have like a quarter in which we could start filming is nice, because then we could finally get out of this purgatory of waiting to see who else is in this cast. So
God bless you.
May 2nd, 2025. If this thing starts filming in August, no chance.
No.
Cue up the Vince McMahon song. No chance. No chance in hell. You like, come on. They would have to start filming next week to meet a date 16, 17 months out. I mean, it's a big ass movie. This is Fantastic Four. They cannot. I'll tell you what, I don't want it to make that date if it starts filming in August. This is an important movie. Like, for the success of Phase Zero, we need it to be a win. This movie needs to be good. Do not rush this one. Do not rush Fantastic Four. Take your time. Drop it in. I don't give a shit when you drop it. Just make it good. You only get to drop it once. Don't update it for Disney Plus and make it better. Don't become the new director's cut of the world. Just drop a good movie. I'm begging you, take your time with Fantastic Four.
agreed.
But the cast will be here soon.
I hope so.
You say that. You say that. I don't.
Please,
I
Jesus.
don't believe it.
I think casting.
Happy 3 years to us talking about this on Phase Zero.
Yeah.
Listen, I think that this is one of the top priorities at Marvel Studios, getting this cast in place and getting this movie started. And it's also one of the most important things they have going on right now, aside from Kang, if that is being recast. But I think the Fantastic Four cast, they got to be upon us. Imagine if they hold this out until Comic-Con. I will lose my mind, bro. No. No. They need. It's got. I think within like 30 days we'll know the Fantastic Four cast, and that's not inside information. That's just an optimistic guess. Whatever.
Somebody clip that so that in 30
Yeah.
days, when he is proven wrong, we can all talk
Gosh.
about it.
If Aaron said it, it would have been true. But I said
I've been burned too many times with this movie that has not even started production yet. So I will not believe it until filming actually starts, because somebody could still drop out before the filming even starts, as evident by the next news story we're going to talk about.
So
So
which is more likely, though? Fantastic Four is cast by February 17th, 2024, or Madam Web is a very good movie.
I mean, you're asking nonsense questions.
you're also
like-
asking Madam Web defenders that question. So.
but also, I mean, what? That's like an apples and oranges. That's like an oranges and oranges. Oh no.
You guys sound scared. All right, let's keep moving.
Jamie.
Oh gosh. So according to Daniel PK, the rumor is that Euphoria's Austin Abrams is being eyed to replace Steven Yuen as Sentry. And so I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know who this guy was, so I googled him because I don't watch Euphoria, and I was like, oh, he's in Dash and Lily. That's what I know him from. But my thing about this is this guy's 27 and Steven's 40, and I think that's really, if this rumor is true, that's quite a difference in how you're going to present a character. That's a different stage of someone's life. Also, I learned a lot about Austin Abrams, and he's also from my hometown, Sarasota, Florida. So in a way, I am rooting for him as a hometown boy. But I don't know. I think this is interesting because of the age difference. What do you guys think?
Yes.
So it is interesting because I put this in the rundown, and then literally like last night, the DCEU leaks account, which was the account that first said that Steven Yuen had dropped out of Thunderbolts, they said that he might have already passed on this role. So we don't even know at this point, but I did watch Dash and Lily. He was great in that. He's really good in Do Revenge. That is like one of my favorite things that is on Netflix, and I really liked him in that. So I could see it. I do agree that it's really interesting pivoting completely differently in terms of the age range of this character. I don't think we've ever seen that with the MCU. So
I do think it has been said that he's passed on the role.
yeah.
So given he's passing, Fantastic Four are tough to cast. Well, Fantastic Four, regardless, leave them out. I take that comment back. Let's talk only about Sentry. Steven Yuen drops out, calls it scheduling conflicts, calls it that, and Austin Abrams now passes on it. I do think the prestige and the willingness to take the 10-year commitment now that Marvel requires, or the 7-movie commitment they ask for, so that you're kind of guaranteed not getting necessarily a big raise if you become that star based on their movie anymore. I think we're going to have to see a shift into shorter movie contracts for people to take this on. I really feel like Steven Yuen probably looked at this, started winning a bunch of awards for Beef, he's got Invincible going, so that's he's got a full-time job. The man's employed for the foreseeable future with Invincible. He's got a steady income, if that's the issue. And if you look at Yun's career, he's made really careful, good decisions since leaving The Walking Dead. He did 7 years on The Walking Dead. He did his whole I'm the same character for a long time bit. And then since then, he's picked winners. He did Beef, he worked with Jordan Peele. He's done Invincible, which only really requires him to go into a voice recording booth, which is a lot less of a time commitment than a live action role. And I think he might have just looked at it and been like, oh, I don't know if I could lock myself into a Marvel thing for 10 years. And 5 years ago, he probably would have been like, that's a pretty awesome opportunity. A lot more people would have. And I think that even people like Austin Abrams and other people are starting to look at it and go, I don't know if I'm willing to give him this job that much commitment.
I will also say, Peter's in the chat bringing up like the workout routine and the dieting and everything that goes into being cast as one of these characters. I also think that's a huge part of it too, because if you're getting offered the role of Sentry, how quickly do they need to start filming to make that July 2025 release date? Like you would have to be in the gym 24 hours a day to get fit enough to fit into that costume in the matter of weeks. So I'm sure that's a huge part of it too.
Well, we mentioned it earlier in the show. There's ways.
Yeah.
I was going to say, go ahead.
I was also say it's also worth noting that he was nominated for an Oscar for Minari, and isn't he going to be working with that director again? And
yes.
I would want to go work with the director I got an Oscar nom for again more too. So
well, he got his Emmy award with Jake Schreier, who's directing Thunderbolts. But yeah, I mean, I hear you. Yes.
I mean, okay.
Are you comparing Oscars and Emmys right now, live on the show?
Yeah. I stopped myself from doing so.
Aaron, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, please.
We can't let her drag the show into awards discourse. I don't know anything about it. I'm happy to let Jamie talk for me on that. I really do think it might have been just scheduling stuff, though. Like, I know we all love Palace Intrigue, but like, also, I think if you remember freaking Chris Pratt and Chris Hemsworth talk about how much it sucked to be in shape for these roles, I'm like, yeah, just Anthony Mackie talking about being excited to have a cigar and a steak and be like, oh yes, I could actually let go for a couple months before we start filming Cap 4 does ring in my mind too. God bless. I want someone to ask Jim Viscardi, who really, really deeply cares about the Sentry, about having such different actors playing the character. Because I think for a lot of casual people, it's going to be a hard sell anyway. Like, he's just like a Superman XP. Like, that's all everybody really knows, at like a surface level thing. And even that, you're going to have to explain it to people. So I don't know,
I'm pretty sure Sentry's role in Thunderbolts, as I understand it, at least early on, was quite small, which means that Jim Viscardi could have probably missed the whole thing. So we're going to go ahead and take a 1-minute break. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Leave a 5-star review, and we'll see you in a moment. Welcome back to Phase Zero. What do we got here to start about? Oh, we got some X-Men stuff. A couple of X-Men stories here, back to back. Oh, yeah.
We've got Alexander Schiff talking about not wanting to return as Storm to our friends over at Entertainment Tonight. What's kind of funny is no. Yeah, I'm not interested in returning. the thing is, what I love about the career and I've been able to form is that I can play many different things at this point. I feel like I've done what I needed to do with Storm, and I think there are other women who could take on that role and really kill it, and I support that. But for me, I just feel like I'm at a different place in my life. Is anyone on the panel sad that Alexandra Shipp does not want to reprise her role as Storm?
I feel like she said this before, and I feel like she's talked about that it wasn't a good experience, and I feel bad for her that she keeps having to talk about it. And I get it. We would ask her the same thing. It's our job, but it's also like clearly she didn't enjoy it, and I like this response because it's a very diplomatic response, and it's a way to build up other women, and I really appreciate that she formed it that way.
And I know in the past she's been very vocal about like wanting a darker skinned actress to play Storm next. So it's like I'm glad that she is kind of like opening the door and being like, someone else can take this beyond me. But like she's been so great after these X-Men movies. Like she was really great in Tick Tick Boom and in Barbie and everything. So if she did come back, I would want to see it, but I do not blame her at all for not wanting to.
Is there anyone from that young cast that you guys are like, yeah, that is somebody I would want back?
Oh, what's her name?
Does Evan Peters count?
I mean, you got him back technically.
I'm not. No comment.
Let's not start that.
That's why I said technically.
Actually, Lana Condor.
Yeah.
Please come on down. She's super nice.
Yes.
There is an angel. God bless. Like I'm sad that Jubilee is attached to some of that stuff, which makes me upset. So
that was my
that's
answer
probably the
too.
only person. Yeah.
Y'all don't want Oscar Isaac's Apocalypse back?
No, I mean, Oscar Isaac doesn't want Oscar Isaac's Apocalypse to come back. So
yeah.
You forget he's been in all these things. He's just in the background. They could do a big John Malkovich with all the Oscar Isaac's weird comic book adjacent characters.
Who did Olivia Munn play? Psylocke?
Psylocke, yeah.
Not really dying to see more of that Psylocke continuation. Ty Sheridan, the F word as
next to Dark Phoenix, Apocalypse is a masterpiece. So.
Jesus.
They're both movies.
Yeah, and one is more a movie than the other.
One is definitely a movie that came out at a different time than the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they both have credits. Yeah. No. Anyway, speaking of other actors from the younger generation of X-Men.
Yeah, speaking of that, James McAvoy also spoke to Entertainment Tonight, and he teased what it would take to return as Professor X. And he said, anything I say will get me in trouble in that. I've had no contact with them. If they want me to come back, they need to talk to me, and there needs to be a good script. They need to want me. When stuff like that happens or doesn't happen, that's the reality of it. So I think going off of what Jamie said of like the ending of that franchise was kind of questionable, depending on how you feel about Dark Phoenix. So I don't blame him for having this outlook. How do y'all feel about it?
My thing is, at this point, I think that we are going to get the older cast, because of where we're headed with Deadpool and Hugh Jackman. I would be surprised if we saw the younger versions all the way down to McAvoy and Fassbender again, unless it was in some kind of like little joke. Like we've talked about them walking into a room and it's a big group of people. I just, with all of this winding down and heading into Secret Wars and all of that, you can't have two giant casts of the same actors. And at this point, we've already seen Patrick Stewart and everything. And I just think that's the direction they're going. Not that I would give anything. James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender are like my number one favorite comic book boyfriends, and I would love to see them together again for sure. But I just don't think that's ever going to happen. And at least we're getting the other cast, I think.
I think the only place we'd see McAvoy is in Deadpool 3. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think Secret Wars, if it does end up having the Avengers versus X-Men elements that I keep crying about, I think it would have to be the OG cast of both universes. Because let's be honest, if you bring back Downey and Evans and Johansson and Hemsworth and Renner and all, you have the original Avengers, and they're going against Alexandra Shipp, Ty Sheridan, James McAvoy. I'm sorry, I love you, Professor X, but I have to lump you in with the rest of them who are not as renowned as the OGs. That clearly is not as big of a draw as if you had Halle Berry and James Marsden and all of the originals. So yeah, no, I'm sorry, OGs. Sorry, James McAvoy. I don't want your pain. I don't want your future.
I love him dancing And I just want behind the scenes stuff of him dancing on Deadpool 3. He don't got to show up. Just him cutting a rug is fine enough for me. I think you guys are right that there's a reason that in certain post-credit scenes to certain Marvel movies, they use the music from X2 and stuff like that. I feel like that has more emotional weight for an audience. If you're going to spend all this money on cameos, which is why I was making it thunderstorm in the background of Brandon talking, you have to go for the stuff that's really going to make people pop out of their seats. You need the Jamie Dirac punching someone next to you reaction out of the theater, else it's not worth it.
Yeah, you mentioned Professor X. Obviously, the older Beast is back too.
Yeah.
So who knows if it's from that same universe, but it's the same actor as maybe variant, maybe who knows, whatever. But yeah, unlikely. I think we all agree to see McAvoy again. Sad. Days of Future Past, one of my favorite comic book movies of all time, and he was fantastic in it. But let's be honest, Patrick Stewart is. Come on. All right, we're gonna take one more quick break. We got some more MCU news from Agatha to the Punisher to Peter B. Parker. And you don't want to miss Aaron's Spicy Nugget of the Week. Subscribe to the channel during the break. See you in a moment. Welcome back to Phase Zero. It's the final third of the show. It's the third act. This is where all the action happens. Jamie, what you got?
Oh boy, the action indeed, because we got an Agatha update. Catherine Hahn spoke to the Hollywood Reporter, and she said, "We just have a few more days to pick up. Yeah, we've got it. We've got most of it done. It's very exciting. Marvel fans and just anyone who loves a witch. I can't wait for people to see it. Who wouldn't want to play a witch? That's all I played as a kid every Halloween. Girl, same. I can't. I'm gonna start posting all my witch Halloween childhood photos. Oh, she's excited. I'm excited. It's gonna be great. #1 hype rankings. Aaron and I. Let's go.
This makes me actually wish El Muerto happened because as a kid I wanted to be a wrestler.
Yeah, very happy El Muerto release weekend to everyone.
Yeah,
It's a totally. I wrote a eulogy for it on our website. It was supposed to come out last Friday and it did not, and I am honestly a little sad about it. So, because that movie would have been something.
Oh, El Muerto bonus episode drops this Friday.
Imagine if we got Bad Bunny on the show, though. Imagine.
No. Listen, I'll wrestle Bad Bunny someday. My first wrestling match is in February. Everybody on Phase Zero, come watch it. Anyway, back to Agatha, and because we can't spend the whole time talking about El Muerto.
Yes.
Agatha. I'm excited. Not as excited as Jamie and Aaron, and I feel like that means I hate it by my own proclamations. Beauty hates Agatha. But no, yeah. The thing I think I'm most looking forward to with Agatha, not most, but the perspective I keep trying to maintain is that this does feel like the last of the everything gets a green light era. So I want to take it in and enjoy it because I don't think we would have got Agatha Darkhold Diaries if Agatha was introduced now. I think Agatha would have always been a supporting character who shows up here and there. And now Agatha gets her own show because of the timing of it. And I think we kind of lucked out as Marvel fans. And hopefully we get to enjoy this one. And it's a great series.
I agree. Jamie and Aaron's excitement is like palpable. Like it's infectious. I'm really curious how they're going to end up marketing the show because even just based off of her comment and how much she's leaning into kind of the witchiness of it, I feel like if they try to sell this as like Marvel's Hocus Pocus, that will help get so many people who have fallen off of the Marvel bandwagon. And so I really hope they like lean into the idea of like, do you just want to see a bunch of fun actresses playing witches? Then like go watch the show immediately. So.
I know a whole corner of the internet that is like, Patti LuPone is a witch. I'm going to watch this even if I don't care anything about this franchise. So, I mean, let's go. Let's go.
Oh, man. It's so close. It's going to be so fun. It'll be fall. I don't really love the holidays, but I'm here. I'm here. I'll have my witch hat on, Jamie. For you.
Aaron hating the holidays is the new me going to G23.
That's
It
right.
is,
I
it
just
is.
don't like it.
Halloween, like I'm with you in the not enjoying holidays camp, but Halloween is just like I feel like Halloween is an exception to at least for me to the rule there, because Halloween you can just be silly and it's not. I don't know, for the reasons I don't like the holidays. Halloween is an outlier.
Okay. All right.
Well, I like all holidays.
When Agatha comes out.
And Halloween's
Jamie's
my
like,
favorite.
I like all. What? Ah. All right. I got somebody who might have a hard time on holidays to talk about next. The Punisher.
Oh,
I'm a huge fan.
Oh,
of the
no.
Punisher. Yeah, I love the Punisher as a character. I love Frank Castle. I love John Bernthal's portrayal of the Punisher. And so Johnny B said to Collider, it's my first time reading this, bear with me. Quote, listen, I'm no Jamie Drack reading a quote. I'm no Jamie Drack with a recap, but I try. Okay, I try. You get a Jamie Drack quote in the next bit of news, so stay tuned. But for now, you got to deal with me quoting John Bernthal talking about the Punisher to Collider. Quote, I think there's a reason why that character has resonated as deeply and strongly as he has in the hearts and the minds of comic book fans and first responders and military and people in the military and people all over the globe. I think there's a little bit of Frank Castle in everybody. He exists very strongly inside of me, and I care about that character deeply. I also know that it's absolutely essential that if we do it right, and we have real sacred integrity to the source material and to what is at the core of Frank. I'm going to do my absolute best to make sure that if and when we do it right. Man, I think John Bernthal cares very deeply about this character. And John Bernthal strikes me as like just a straight shooter, man's man type of guy. Like he's just a guy who is fully himself all the time. He cares about people. He kind of just gets, like, I don't know how to describe it. He just seems like a guy who gets it. Like he's doing it right. I think he's very talented. I think he's a stand-up person. And I think he's a fantastic Frank Castle. And I think that the fact that he's coming back as Punisher for the MCU is a great thing for the MCU, a great thing for the character, because he cares and he's gonna do everything he can to make sure that character is delivered well and right, and just everything about it works. And that I'm very excited to see him play this character again. Is anybody else a big Punisher fan? Am I alone on that island?
I have to say, I've been watching Daredevil, and I just watched the arc, the first half of season 2, and it is the first time watching Daredevil that I have been genuinely riveted. The scene of them on the rooftop, the scene of him at the grave. I mean, I genuinely was. It's the first time that I was like, oh, I get it. Because before that, my favorite Punisher was Dolph, because that was just the one I had. I do love the Dolph Punisher, I stand by it. But no, after finally watching this arc of Daredevil, I so get it. And I plan to now go watch Punisher because of it. I haven't seen it yet, but it is on my list now because of how good he is in Daredevil.
There's just something about when he does that, he gets like primal as Punisher, and he just does that whole like thing, you know what I'm talking about? When he gets really pissed, because if I was on set, I would be running the other way if I heard that noise. I think his work as Frank Castle is incredible, but I really hope there's a time and a place where he ends up like coming across somebody else in the MCU, and he's like, "Let me ask you something," and their name is Rick. Are there any MCU characters named Rick? But
Actually, there are comic characters, but there aren't really MCU ones.
Nobody in the MCU named Rick yet. He's gonna meet Nova. This is my dream scenario. He's gonna meet Nova, Richard Rider. He's gonna call him Rick, and he's gonna go up to him and say, "Let me ask you something, Rick. Does this look dead to you?" Something like that. Man, huge John Bernthal fan, huge Punisher fan. Aaron, Jen, you guys got thoughts on this?
I have a lot of complicated feelings about Punisher, and especially the way that the character has been portrayed a little bit recently. But John Bernthal is incredible. I agree with Jamie. That first arc in Daredevil is outstanding, and I do love the way that he worded this quote. I think he's very thoughtful and considerate to how the actual source material, because even Jerry Conway, who co-created Punisher, has kind of said it has strayed away from the source material a little bit. So I hope if we see him again, when we see him again, that there is kind of that feeling, because I think it could be really cool.
Shout out to Jerry Conway, a real OG. I love the statements he has to give periodically on certain things that have to do with this character's lineage and its depictions in our real world. And because of a lot of things, I kind of bounce off of it a lot, I don't know how you would do this. I was one of the only people here at Comic Book when they made the change for the swords to be honestly good. Honestly. My favorite Frank Castle run is when he's freaking Frankenstein. This is the most interesting the character's ever been. God bless. I know that's a controversial opinion. Shout out to Marvel Max that doesn't exist anymore. But Bernthal is such a captivating performer because it's funny. I'm like the opposite. Him in American Gigolo and him in freaking King Richard shows me. I'm like, oh, he has a lot of range. Like this is an actor. Like it's not just okay. He's wearing the suit of my favorite costume character, and I like this guy because of that. No, he's got some skills. So I know that there is a commentary that we're probably going to see him in Born Again, and for the fans of the Netflix stuff, God bless. You've had the best 2024 I could possibly imagine. Like Adam Barnhart still hasn't woken up. It's been the Dirty Dancing montage with him being lifted up by Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio for 3 months now. So that's great. So yeah, excited to see what happens.
Nobody trips over a suitcase full of money quite like John Bernthal.
Oh,
all right, so we're all on board.
moving on. Yeah, another juicy quote. Jake Johnson spoke to comic book's own Patrick Cavanaugh about the possibility of playing Peter B. Parker in live action. He said, I think for me, truthfully, it's all about Phil Lord and Chris Miller. If Phil Lord or Chris texted and said, we think this is really cool and we would like you to be a part of it, then I'm in. If it's Sony that says they have got a really fun idea and it's a new director who's at a great studio rate, I feel less excited about that. If Phil says, hey man, you're not going to like this, but we're going to put you in tights in front of a green screen, but it's him and it's Chris, and I'm like, the project's going to be so thoughtful and good and mean so much to so many people. And if you think I could help that, yes, I'm in. But in terms of me individually having a desire, I don't. Fair. I mean, fair.
Watching Jake Johnson interviews is delightful.
Mm-hmm.
He is Nick Miller, just in the extended universe. He's a variant. He is so chill. He's so honest. I appreciate his insights on this. And I don't think there is a need for him to play Peter B. Parker in live action. So
I think there's a way you could do it that would be really fun. It would be wild if like somehow at the end of like Craven or something like that, it's like, here is Peter B. Parker and that's that universe's Spider-Man or something. But I agree with him that like there has to be a really good reason to justify it.
Yeah, Nick Miller, Stone Cold Killer, Marcus Ward in the comment section. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, he's got a point. It's got to be the Spider-Verse team. I see it as an extension, maybe in Beyond the Spider-Verse. But then at the same time, it's like he's going to look so different from Peter B. Parker in animation that he would just have to be like a variant of the character anyway, right?
They're both kind of equally hot. I can see it. If I didn't know who voiced Peter B. Parker, and then they're like, we're gonna bring this into live action, and then like Jake Johnson, I'd say fair, okay.
I mean, so are Brad Pitt and Jason Momoa, but they look quite different.
I don't know.
We're learning a lot about our friends today on this.
Yes, we are.
2024, the year we share too much.
I would really kill for, and it's not like a big thing, but if Tom was walking through that diner in Spider-Man 4 and it was just Jake Johnson eating a burger in the same coat with the suit under it, it'd be like, what? I'm on my lunch break? That's enough for me. That's really funny. Like that sort of stuff I feel like you get away with. I don't know about having an entire movie where he's there, because as Peter pointed out in the comments, running the Phase Zero account, like they've kind of got Toby on the same sort of thing right now. I think he'd appreciate if you told he could show up without the six-pack abs for whatever he's going to show up for. He'd probably be down for that. He'd be like, yes, no exercise. You can see I have a clear tilt on this episode against being in the gym or taking these illicit supplements. But if that happens, the Spider-Verse movies are popular enough that you probably should brace for some element of it making its way into Secret Wars. Maybe not all of them or anything, but there will be a nod. They're too popular not to.
Aaron, if me and you ever gonna hoop, man.
Oh, I'm just be out there out of shape shooting set shots. Rich is gonna be like, what
honestly,
happened?
Stay out of the gym because it'll help me out, because I'll never forget that challenge. And then I saw Aaron in person and I was like, yo. What the hell? I'm not used to being not the tallest person in the room.
My mom saw the picture of all of us because she was here over the weekend, like at Comic-Con 2 years ago, and she was like, I thought Brandon was taller.
What? What? I'm out. See, we're just adding taller people slowly. You and Liam.
That's right.
Freaking beanstalks.
When I took pictures with both of you and Jake at the What If, Jake is my best friend. For those listening, Jake was with us at What If. And you're all three of you are so tall that I'm like, people are gonna think I'm just short because I'm only hanging around tall people.
Yeah, usually I'm sure Aaron experiences this, but like whenever we do in-person interviews, actors are not tall.
They're
No.
not.
Like on a red carpet, it's usually where people the first thing people say is usually like, wow, or like when I post a photo with an actor or like I meet somebody, whatever, everybody's like, you're so much taller than I thought you were. Or, wow, like whatever. It's like, well, no. Well, I feel like no, actors are just short. but but anyway, we got one more topic here. Speaking to tall people, Aaron.
Oh boy. It's a return of the spicy nugget of the week presented by nobody. Our Adam Barnhart loves finding funny angles from the comics, and since he's had such a role with all this Netflix stuff and other tertiary Marvel stuff that's now being folded into the canon faster and faster and faster, he thinks we just figured out who the Ghost Rider in the MCU is going to be. So there's a Spirit of Vengeance comic that's coming out this year. And in that comic, the Hood is Ghost Rider. Now, because of how the MCU does things with synergy, as the owner of a Miss Marvel issue where she has hard light, and that there's a new Sentry series out where there's a new Sentry that has lineage very similar to Steven Yuen, which is going to be kind of weird now, probably. Who knows? The idea that they would introduce a Ghost Rider who was the Hood has some people wondering, was this a plan because Ironheart was supposed to come out this year? Do you think he's on to something with this?
I absolutely believe it's supposed to, like, Ironheart was supposed to come out this year, and this was like kind of teasing and kind of like leading the runway, because Marvel does have a penchant for, as much as humanly possible with all of the scheduling, putting out a comic that is very relevant to the movie or the TV show that is on the pipeline. I don't necessarily believe that the Hood will be Ghost Rider in the MCU, because I feel like this was just a way to bring back the Hood and give him a story in a new miniseries that they could sell and package very easily, and it's just something that like nobody would have ever put together, but it does make sense. But I think this was just a way to like get the Hood in people's minds before he eventually shows up in Ironheart.
I like it. I think there's a pretty good amount of credibility to this rumor, given how the synergy at Marvel Comics works with Marvel Studios, and Kevin Feige now oversees both at the end of the day. I mean, they started making Mr. Fantastic look like John Krasinski in the comics a long time ago. How long till he looks like Pedro? Probably not very long. So I don't know that I don't know if I want that, but I do feel like that is the type of thing they do.
I mean, this is how it works. I joked around in the rundown. This is another instance of, ocean spray bottle, possibly. Here we are again, Jenna. Well, every week we're just going to get notified of major developments in this franchise from just weird other stuff. Like, we already know, well, there are pictures floating around that you can find if you're diligent of the Ironheart final suit on the internet places. And the movie is not out. I mean, the show's not going to be out until next year, but you can go see that for yourself if you're industrious. So there's clearly some synergy that was supposed to be going on. I remember seeing the Golden Eagle armor for Wonder Woman 1984 on a bag of Totitos back in like, what was it, 2020? I was like, bro, what is happening? Because all this stuff has to be developed so far ahead of time that if you shift the release date, the toys, the Legos, whatever are supposed to come out, and that's it. We got another funny thing last week, I want to say, where a Lego set for Brave New World is coming out this year.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a certain giant red being in the details for the Lego set that somebody lied to my friend Jamie Drack to her face about and did not know what a Red Hulk was. But here we are with Legos with that character in it. So, it's keep an eye on that stuff if you care about all the weird machinations behind the scenes, because they can't hide all of it.
Well, yeah. That's. I have nothing to add.
You have nothing to
I'm
add.
sorry. Just to clarify, to sum it up, are we saying that Anthony Ramos could be Ghost Rider? Is that what we're saying?
That's
basically, yeah.
Potentially.
Okay.
Like
Potentially.
that
Okay.
the hood would also have Ghost Rider abilities.
Okay,
He would
okay,
be
but I just
given them
wanted to sum up the
Yes.
theory so that my brain could understand what was happening.
Appreciate it.
Okay, all right.
Go
cool.
ahead,
I
BB.
mean,
So what if he's not actually playing the hood and that's a mislead, and in Ghost Rider in Ironheart he's actually just Ghost Rider?
Oh my god.
I feel like that'd be a weird choice.
Especially when there, like, to Aaron's point, there are photos out there like that I don't know. I honestly just believe that this was a way to get another Hood comic published before Ironheart. I don't necessarily believe that this is exactly an indication of the story that they're doing in Ironheart, because I still think that the technology versus magic seems to be the thing that they're going with. But
Mhm.
I don't know. Weirder things have happened with this franchise.
BD, say it. Come on, say it, Wibby.
It's confirmed. The devil's in the details, baby. All right, y'all. I think that was a lovely show. We covered a lot of news topics. We read a lot of quotes. Y'all got a Jamie quote, so I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
I'm so sorry.
No, I'm pissed. I hate it. No.
You shared it. You could have kept that one to yourself.
Yeah.
What?
You could have kept it to yourself. You're the one who posted it.
No, I saw it. I was like, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. And then I also have people on my on Instagram who are like, wait a second, you have a podcast? And I'm like, what do you mean? You question mark? Yeah, it's a statement. Yes, we have a podcast. Go listen to it. So we got to raise awareness. We got to start raising awareness for Phase Zero, get the audience even bigger. I love our audience. I feel like if we got more famous, if we got to that point, we just can't leave the house. I don't know if I'm ready for that, guys. I don't know. We're right there. We're like right there, everybody. So we gotta be careful. I just want to be able to go to Walgreens in peace and buy something. I don't want that. I don't need that Dwayne Johnson treatment where you got to have security. I don't want to be Taylor Swift at a football game. Okay. We're right there, though. We're that close. We're close. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. Aaron, any last words for today's show?
It's at Summon Leghorn on Twitter. I would say I'm going to go promo. Go read Jenna's El Muerto post-operation autopsy, because golly, we flew so close to the sun and we just didn't deserve it. Also, go on to the Phase Zero Twitter account and respond to BD's question about which character deserves a Marvel Spotlight series, because I have a feeling we probably should talk about Vincent D'Onofrio and the idea of if Daredevil's going to be that next show.
Jamie Drack, any last words for today's show?
Oh yeah, I want to just clarify, because I've seen a lot of confusion in the comments, because Peter made a beautiful graphic, as he always does, with a stamp that says canceled over She-Hulk. It is not confirmation that She-Hulk is canceled. I just want us all to remember that we might still be getting it for those of us who want it. Don't be too sad, but we'll see what happens.
I'm surprised
Also,
nobody took that as like She-Hulk had a controversial opinion that like got herself.
It did look like that when I first saw it. And I was like, no.
Jenna, tell them what to do.
Thank you, Jamie, first of all, for clarifying that. Also, if you're sad about it or if you're happy about it, just know, again, this is all just conjecture. And it's at Hey It's Jenna Lynn on social media. As always, go read some comics. I forgot to plug Ultimate Spider-Man #1 last week, but it is outstanding. You need to go read it. And there's a new Guardians of the Galaxy issue this week. It is so good. Made me cry. So highly recommend that as well.
Nice. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for listening. Leave a 5-star review on every major podcast platform. So if you listen to us on Apple, that means leave a 5-star review there. Then go to Spotify and leave a 5-star review there too. And maybe even press play there, whatever, and just let the whole episode play, and then just play the next one, and the next one, the next one, and just help us be able to gloat about our numbers to the people who help us book guests, because ultimately it does come down to ear holes and eyeballs that get our guests booked and opportunities locked in. So we really appreciate that. We got some really cool stuff coming up in 2024. So yes, 5-star review, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, youtube.com/c/phase zero. Play our show for your mom, play it for your dog, play it in the car. Thank you so much for sending us pictures when you play it on the big screen. It makes us all feel cool. If you want to talk more, hit me up at Brandon Davis BD, and we'll see you on Friday for a bonus episode or a spotlight episode. We're still figuring it out, and we'll be back on Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern time every single week for the rest of your lives. See you there.